So good evening, everyone. I just welcome you all for the day 4 in our data science bootcamp training. So till date, what we have just was seeing is we just had look at something, right? So we had started with what is meant by data science. We had an entire overview of what data scientist does, and we just crossed with some infographics which states what and all comes under data science, which business activities needs data science, and we just moved on to the R now the current data science worksheet, right? So now in that yesterday we just saw about traditional datas. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next thing, which is big data. Okay, yesterday I was saying you, okay, so what was the difference between a traditional data and a big data? Can anyone just tell me what is the difference between a traditional and a big data? A short answer, a one word answer. It will fine. What is the traditional data and a big data? What is the difference between a traditional and a big data? Yes. I just need everyone to be answering. I just said no. If you are more interactive, you'll get at the end of the day, you will be more beneficial. Okay. So traditional datas, yes, traditional datas are nothing but you'll be having a less amount of data. It can be carried out or it can be stored. It can be processed using a single computer or a single system. Okay. Yes, great. So it is a structured, it will be a structured, so it will be having a table. If it is lies in certain category, it will be in under that only, it won't be like in others or differently like that. It is a structured. What is mean by traditional? It is a very less volume, it is very small, so we can store it in a single system, we can process it in a single system. The same thing if it a big data. Big data, the term big refers, it has a huge amount of volume, it cannot be processed using a single computer. We need a chain of computer, a flock of computers we need. Okay, so moving on to this. Okay, moving on to this, we just yesterday we just saw about traditional data, and then we just saw about data collection and pre-processing. Okay, we started with the class labeling, we just separated, right, which and all comes under categorical and which and all comes under numerical, right? Categorical means which cannot be changed. Suppose ID of a person, name of a person, age of a person. Okay, the same thing numerical. What was my sales in the last month, what was the sales in my last year? It will be changing, right? So I was separating that. Then data cleansing I was doing. So data cleansing means data cleaning. So I was doing, right, if I have a missing value or if I have something reference value but they have entered into a different way, I can just made it, right? So then what we will do, we just saw some case specific. So if we have categories, what we should do, we should have balance in their category. If men and women are there, we should take two feedback from men and two feedback from women. We should not take 10 feedback from women, one feedback from men, which will spoil our prediction. Okay, then shuffling the database. The shuffling means if we have n number of feedbacks or n number of data set, we are going to do our analysis only with a limited set, means we are not supposed to take from a certain values. We are going to shuffle and we are going to take 3 or n number of sets. We are not going with a single set. We are going to take, suppose we have 100 data set, only 10 we are going to analyze, means first I'm going to shuffle, I'm going to take out 10, I'm going to do analysis. Second, I'm going to shuffle, then I'm going to take 10, I'm going to do analysis. Average of that I'll use for my future work. Okay, the same thing, big data. So if we come to big data, what does the pre-processing means? So there we had, okay, there we had only two types of category, but here coming to the point of class labeling, we are going to separate based upon their label. You can see class labeling. Here I have only two, categorical or numerical. But here I have many things. Number, text, digital images, digital video data, digital audio data. Okay, so in normal traditional data, we have two types of category only. Okay, one is categorical data, numerical data. Here we have n number of classes. Numbers, it can be a number, it can be a text, it can be a digital image, it can be a digital video data, digital audio data. Digital image is nothing but your image, what you have in your phone. Okay, digital video data is, it's like a clipping. The digital audio tool is like a MP3. Okay, so we have, since here we have two things, so we have a limiter, we have just an option whether it is a changeable or it's not a changeable. So based on that we have categorized, but here we have n number of classes. Okay, so we have a wider range of data cleansing methods. Okay, so normally in data science, what they will be doing is like for data cleansing. Okay, if at all we have n number of things right here, number, text, digital image, digital video. Okay, suppose we take a picture and an audio file. So what they will be doing, normally what problem will be having in a picture, while taking a picture it may be blurred, or if we are sending an audio, we will have a background noise, right? So what they will be doing is like they will prepare an algorithm. If at all you are consider you have an audio from your customer, so they have an algorithm like the, when you give the input as your feedback, customer's feedback, the audio what it does is, okay, the audio what is does is it will first remove the background noises, then it will strengthen the wavelength. Suppose a customer is sending his feedback from a old phone, the feedback or the amount of sound received from his device may be low, so we should boost that. Okay, so it will boost. So set of algorithm to perform set of actions will be done using some set of codes. The same way we have for images. If it is blur or we have an annoying background, you just take only the necessary part, remove the unwanted parts. You just boost the colors, color gradients boost. Okay, we have n number of things which will be detailedly seen in the upcoming classes. Okay, so what is the next thing is like we are going to label that of, okay, we are going to label, okay, this is a number text, this is a number class, this is a text class, this is an image, this is a video, this is an audio. We are going to divide that. Okay, we have n number of ways to divide that. Okay, so we are going to do data cleansing. So what data cleansing? To remove unwanted data. What we said, if you take an audio background noises, video means something like unwanted videos. If a video have 1 hour length, suppose a 1 hour length video is there, consider first 15 minutes and last 15 minutes is something like a preparation, something is adjusting the camera or something like that. That I don't want to waste. I don't want to waste in my storing. I don't want to waste seeing that again, rectifying again. What I will do is I will trim it off. So 1 hour video, I'll trim half 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after, which makes me half an hour. Okay, it will help me in my storage. I don't want to buy extra storage. It will reduce my storage cost. Okay, so I like that I'll be doing my data cleansing. Okay, so here there it was like missing values, either by single, we have only two class, categorical and numerical. If it is a categorical, something like New York, or we just saw, right, New York and Washington DC, it won't change. Suppose the user have entered something different of a categorical data, we can adjust that. Okay, he was about to write Washington DC, instead he write CD. We can adjust that. If it is a numerical data, we can just get average out of it, or else we can neglect that. But here we get a big problem. Consider the background noise is much higher than your voice, so that it is not even you can't even hear the voice of that your customer. So what will you do? You are getting a image or a video clipping so that it's not fully focused. What will you do? How will you rectify that? So we have n number of problems here, considering the big data, dealing with the missing values. Okay, so moving on to that, see, I just give you an overall idea here. So what is class labeling for a data, big data, data cleansing? Because these and all we are not going to much concentrate, and these are the things we are going to concentrate much in our future for the classes. Okay, so I'm just giving an overall idea. So if I explain what are all the class labeling which we are doing, you might be confused, because already we are going with much of theoretical part. So you people will be confused. I don't want to confuse more. Okay, so I'll just, as we are going to see each and every topic which I mentioned here in a further classes detailedly, I just give here a small introduction about what and which area it lies. Okay, so these and all have a big problem dealing with the missing values. Okay, so here we have case specific, right? So balancing and shuffling data sets. Okay, so here I also have some case specific terms. What are the case specific terms I have? So I have a text data mining. What is meant by text data mining? Can anyone guess what is meant by that? Can anyone have any idea about that? Text data mining, you just, it's a normal way of deriving. See, I'm just saying you again, data scientist is nothing but you just want to think a little bit ahead of the others. It's nothing. So you don't want any skill set, or you don't want any separate skill set or something. You just want to think a little out of box. That's it. So I just was asking what is meant by text data mining. Okay, so I'm just giving you the answer here. So text data mining. Okay, mining is something like I'm going to pull out something. Okay, so you will say coal mine or a gold mine. What is meant by that? So coal mine is like I'm going to dig the earth and I'm going to get coal out of it. I'm going to extract. Coal mining. So here I'm going to use, I have a term data mining. So I am going to pull a data. From where I'm going to pull a data? I'm going to pull a data from a text. Okay, so what is meant by text data mining? So data mining is the term refers getting a data from a particular library. So here text data mining is the process of deriving valuable. So the term which we use here, valuable, I'm not going to extract all the data. I'm going to extract only the usable which I want to for my analysis. Okay, the valuable data I'm going to derive. From where I'm going to derive? From an unstructured data. Okay, I'm going to get from an unstructured data. Okay, so I'm going to get, basically I have a text file, I'm going to take a data from here. Okay, suppose I have a set of data here, I have a set of files here, consider. Okay, so suppose like I have 1,000 files. So 1,000 files are what I have less volume. Okay, 1,000 files is something comparatively less volume. Okay, comparatively less volume. So what I'll be doing, I'll be having a marketing expenditure to get the work done. The same thing, consider I have, yes, so consider I have things like I want to extract data from an online platform. I want to mine data from a private Excel sheet. Same thing, I want to extract data from academic papers. The same way I want to extract data from blog articles. It is very difficult to mine the data from this area. Before we had a text volume. Okay, here I have files where my what and all valuable things I need for my analysis, everything lies here. But in this case, I want to surf in everything. If I want to get from this, I want to check here, check in this, I want to get from this. Excel file, I want to go to that, I want to take from that. Academic paper, I want to analyze that and I want to take that. Here, blog articles, I want to go to that particular blog to the particular blog, to the particular article, I want to check the data and get my data which are usable to me, right? Which is very, very, what to say, which is tough, which is compared to the uh, normal way which we do from a normal file. Okay, so why we have a issue here? Because these have a higher number of volume, because we have higher number of data to get our to get a data for our analysis. We have a huge number of data, from there we want to extract. Okay, so here only the risk comes, or the your work comes. So you as a human cannot do the task. You want to surf the net, you want to go to the Excel sheet, you want to go to the paper which has been published for your related domain, you want to refer your article. It is highly impossible. If you can do these, all can be done, consider in an year you can do. But if you take a time, suppose it should be completed within 15 days, it is highly impossible. Okay, so that's why we are getting the topic big data here. Okay, so the second thing of the thing is data masking. So consider my user is giving me certain data. Suppose consider you are giving me, after finishing the class, you are going to giving me, you are giving me something like your name, your phone number, your photos for certification, and then your feedback video, something like that you are giving. Okay. To my community, I can share your name and your feedback, not your photo or your video which you're gonna share to me, right? But okay, but the photo and the video I'm just getting from you is like a data from your side, from my customer side, yet I cannot display that into my business people, right? If I show this feedback from your, from which I got from you to my business people, they will get more attracted and my business will grow. But I have a privacy issue showing my customer, or you being a customer don't want to show your picture or your video to someone else. So what I will be doing? So I cannot show the raw data, the photo or the video which I get from you, I cannot showcase in my profile. So what I will be doing, I will be extracting the valuable data, which and all will be useful for me. Okay, which and all will be useful for me. I'll be taking from that from you. Okay, I can just derive that data and I can do that. So here I'm just using the data in spite of I have a privacy issue with some concern, but I am not going to display that entire raw data which I just collect from you. You're getting that? I'm going to mask that. I'm not going to send the video which you gave me. Okay, so here the process of masking is coming. You're getting that? So the data masking is nothing but the analyzing the information without promising the private details of your customers. So we have n number of risks in data masking. So one by one, I just tell you. So in data masking, what we can do is we just usually conceals the original data with a random or false data. Since we are going to extract that thing, I'm not going to publish the video. Instead, I am going to extract. During the extract, the user might have conveyed something, but I would have, while extracting, I just might have manipulated that. So because of that, my randomness, or I may project a false data. Okay, so this is very useful while we do that. While we are conducting an analysis, by extracting a false data, it will affect my entire process. Okay, so at the end of the day, I should be you being a customer, keeping a trust and just giving you all the private data. So I am in a place to be storing these information in a very confidential matter. Okay, so this is what we call the case specific for the big data. We have text data mining and confidentiality preserving data mining techniques. Okay, so it will be two things, text and confidential. Okay, so here we normally use, in a traditional data, we normally use a set of diagrams. We just saw, right, ERG diagrams. What is ERG diagrams? Yes. So here what it does is, here we just say, if we do this, this will happen. It will do that. This will happen. Yes. If you do this, this will happen. The same thing, we have a set of functions here. This have connection with this have connection with this. But here, if you go, if you see, it won't be as similar like that of this, but this set of diagram which generally the data scientists will be using will show the complexness of the data. Okay, it is, see, this data is somewhat related to these, this data is related to these. Okay, this diagram, what they show is, this shows some objects that are very complex to each other. You can see here. So this data is somewhere related to this, and this entity is somewhere related to these data sets. You're getting that? Okay, so we have a case specific and the usual diagram. See, what I'm just trying to say is, if you say something like, what will be the shape of an ice cream cone? Do anyone say it is a rectangle, or anyone say it is a square? No, they won't. They will say cone. In spite of what, it will be different type, right? It is different flavor, something. I'm just giving an overall structure. Okay, so if we are using a big data, this type of graph or this type of representation will be used. Okay, don't get missed. What is this all about? What is this data sets? Why it is related? How it is related? How the arrow mark came? Don't worry. So I'm just giving an overall picture. Okay, so great. So shall we proceed? Yes. So we just had a little brief introduction about a data, what is meant by traditional data and a big data. right? So I have a question for you people. So finishing this up, we are going to move on to the business intelligence, right? So we just covered, like we just had an overall idea about what is meant by business intelligence, right? We just covered in day 1 or day 2, right? So can anyone just use your chat box to tell what is meant by business intelligence? What's how much what do you understand about a business intelligence? I'll just give you a couple of minutes. You just type what is there in your mind about a business intelligence. What is this all about? You can just try it, give a try. Great, great. Yes, you people are correct. Okay. So what is business intelligence? Great. Yes. So here in this part, we are going to collect data, and using that data we are going to filter things, and we are going to extract the essential part. We are going to get the juicy part of the data, and we are going to what we are going to do, we are going to serve here. So we are going to present. This is what I got from these feedbacks. This is what I got from the data which we have collected. We are going to present. That's it. The simple way is that. Okay. So before entering that, I'll just give you a little small big data we were just seeing. No, I'll just give you some real life examples of big data. Okay. So here I was just saying no. So I may have different kinds of datas, right? So numbers, text, digital images, digital videos, digital audio. Where this will be coming? Give me a few examples. Okay. I'll just give you some examples here. Okay. Take your social media, suppose Facebook. Okay, Facebook, you will have a data, something like your name, your date of birth. You'll be giving, right, your username, your city, where you have studied, which area you have visited, which time, everything, your IP address, everything will be stored in a numerical form, in a text form, or in a numerical form. You will be stored, right? Then your photographs, everything will be stored, right? It is a digital image file. So videos, you'll be sharing videos, right? So it's a digital video files. So here digital audio files, you're clipping, audio clippings, everything. So here, before we had only a structured content, but here you see I have many varieties of classes. So automatically if I have many variety, I have a bigger volume. So if I have many variety, I have a bigger volume. Okay, so if I have bigger volume, what I should do next? What is the next V? So I should be aware of my velocity. Velocity means the rate at which I can extract the data. If I have more, if I have less data, easily I can pick it out. If I have more data, I should concentrate, I should go, I should get that. So I should be aware of my velocity. Okay, so suppose considering if you are using Facebook app, you might have noticed, right? If you are sending voice notes or something like that, take a simple example. You will be speaking once, okay, in your Google Home. Recently is there, no, Google Home or Alexa, you'll be registering your voice once. Next time onwards, while you just speak, it will just say, hey, it will just call with your name. How come it can do? It just collects the audio data from yours. And it's just getting, it's not going to collect at only once. Keep remember this. Google Alexa or sorry, Google Home or Alexa does not going to collect the data, its reference data only once. Okay, what it going to do? First time while you are going to record, while you are going to register your voice, it will record, and every time when it just recognize you, it will store that data. It won't, it not only analyze and leave, it will store that data. So it will add some more modification if it had, so that it have a better result. Suppose consider like if you have cold also, if you say hello Google or hello Alexa, it will just react. How come? Means it is no, it just has a set of data. So we have, since collecting much data, we have many variety. If I when speak in normal voice also, it will speak in some cold. If I have some cold and if I just speak also, my Alexa will be responding me. I have a variety of my data. Okay, this is where the big data is. Okay, the second example which we have is, consider trading data. Okay, financial trading data. What is meant by financial trading data? Means people might be knowing, but people who don't know, I'm just telling you that. So it is like a data, something like a share market will be analyzing, right? So for every second, its price will get changed. So I am going to suppose I am going to, okay, for I'm going to record the stock price. Consider this second it was this price, next second this was its price was this. Like that, I'm just, what I'm doing, I'm just noting it down. So if I take 1 hour, I'll be having something around 3600 records. If I take a day, if I take a year, if I take 10 years, what will be my storage? From the storage I should pull. So here I have only two types of data, but I have enormous number of volumes. Okay, so this is where this big data will be applied. Okay, so coming back to the business intelligence, I'm just giving you, I was just telling you about business intelligence, right? Business intelligence is nothing but we just saw about traditional big data. We'll just jump on to the business intelligence. So what we did in data, we just collected data, we just processed it, and we just got the information. Okay, this, from this feedback, this was the thing the customer wants to convey us. We got the information from which step, using traditional and big data, traditional or big data, we just got the information from the raw fact. How? We just processed it and we got information. Okay, now in business intelligence, okay, what we are going to do is we are going to convert that information into a reliable form of exposing. Okay, so what we are going to do, that information, how we are going to convert that information into a set of instructions or set of showcase. So we are going to do a business intelligence, which is a BI analysis. So basically what we'll have some data skills. So we have some data and we have business knowledge. Okay, so I have a set of data. I know how my business runs. If I do this, this will be that. If I will do this, I have a profit, like that. I have business knowledge. I have some intuition. Okay, next month I have this festival is coming, so my product will be going high. So using these things, I can explain my past performance. What was this? Okay, even though I had this, I failed. Okay, so using this business intelligence, this is the main key what to say, key question which will be asked if you are attending a lower, I'm just mentioning, if you are attending a elementary job which involves data analytics or data scientist. This will be the first question. Using business intelligence, what you can predict, why business intelligence is used. So you can say, using business intelligence, I can answer the questions which are what happened, when did it happen, how many units did we sell, and which is the region which we have sold more. Regions represent in which term, in first term of the year or second term of the year or third term of the year or the fourth term of the year. Okay, this is the most important point. So this will be keep on repeating. They will be asking why business intelligence is used and how it helps in the data analysis process. So this is what. So the business intelligence will just, you can just tell business intelligence just helps me to analyze what has happened in my past and when did it happen and how many units we have sell this product and which was the most profitable area in my annual. Okay, so you just keep that in mind. Business intelligence is nothing but you're going to read something like you have a data, your friend have just secreted the unwanted things, you have like only wanted things here. So using business intelligence, you're going to study that wanted things or the useful data and you are going to answer your entire team. So why this was done? If your HR was asking why this happened, you can just say, sir, I was just analyzing this and I say because we did, due to this we have fallen in this loss. In spite of doing that, we have just got profit too. We can just say, okay. So if an HR asks what's the next, what is the news regarding our email marketing? Okay, you can say we did an email marketing for this much people at this much time and this is what our result is. So it is you can just say, okay, doing this email marketing, okay, at least help me to increase my sale. You can just say what is was my last performing doing an email marketing, what was my last quarter. Okay, click through rate means if I send 100, how many people out of 100 clicks through my email. So doing that work, out of 100, how many have entered this. So it is value to do that email marketing or not. Okay, what was the profit, what was the revenue generated, I can just tell that. Okay, the same like I can just tell them how does the comparative performance. Okay, what was the performance is my last year and my this year, it was increased, it was profitable, can I continue my business in the same way. I can just answer the, sorry, I can just answer all the questions like this. Okay, so here I have a data, suppose consider I have a data of what I have a consider I have monthly revenues here. So I have revenues something like this. So customers, in first day I have a customer, second day I have a customer, third day I have a customer. Okay, so these are my observation. So by observing, okay, first monthly revenue was this much, second monthly this. I'm just using my observation and I'm plotting the graph. The question arises, I want to take the observation directly to my analysis. No, you should not do that. Okay, you should not take your observation directly to that. So then the question arises, how I should change the observation, how I just process my observation. There comes the process of quantifications. Quantification is nothing but here you are what you are going, in simple term I'm just saying here what you are going to do, whenever a customer comes you are going to give a mark, rather than here I'm going to say at the month of January I have 10 customers and $100 monthly revenue. February I don't have any monthly revenue, I have 15 new customers. In March I have only I have $120 monthly revenue, new customer. So I am going to convert my observation. Observation is nothing but I'm going to record each and every happenings which I going to which happened in my company. Quantification is like it gives me an overall. In this time, what happened? In this time, what happened? I'm just going to quantify. Okay, so observations are converted into quantifications, right? So the quantifications are now brought even more simpler. So in this total, what was my thing? I'm going to measure. So in this total year, my revenue, or in the first quarter, my revenue is $350 and I have total of 10 plus 15 plus 25. I have to 50 new customers. Here what I have a larger set of book. until each and every day I will be writing. And when new customer comes, this customer, this date, this time he came, everything. I'm just quantification. To month, I'm just quantifying. I'm making it as a measure, overall measure. So everywhere, if I jump, when I just move on to the next process, my data are getting even more simpler. Here, if I have 1,000 data, while quantifying, I'll get eliminated, or I get eliminates the volume, huge volume, and I'm getting very less. Even though if I convey the same data, same, what to say, same, same observation I'm just passing. Here I'm, even though I have 1,000, if I quantify to a very less, do I manipulate anything? Here I have 20 things. If I just convert this, if I have only 10 or 5, no, I'm just reducing my size, reducing my volume. The same thing when I convert from quantification to measures, it just gives me a two lines. Here 1,000, here 500, here comes two lines. Even though I want this data only from this thing, even though I want this thing. So which will be easy to get retrieve a data. So what was the revenue entry? If you want to retrieve from measure, for the question like what was your revenue in first quarter, you can say 350. If you say this, you want to go to the blue dots. Okay, 100 plus 120 plus 130. Here means I want to count one by one. Okay, so this is the process. We are going to make the data even more simpler. We are going to accumulate, we are going to get the values to be a single thing. We are going to categorize. Okay, so the next thing, we have a term called metrics. Can anyone say what is meant by metric? You will say, everyone will be saying metric ton or something like that. A metric is a relative word. Can anyone say what is the metric? Okay, instead of making you people to think much, I'll just tell you, I'll ask you a question. Okay, so I'm a tutor now. Okay, so with me, 100 students are studying for an exam, for a certification exam. Okay, so I'm training that 100 student. Okay, I'm just training 100 student. At the end of the day, those 100 students are writing the exam. Okay, so 60 students out of 100 got passed. So what is my metric rate? Metric rate, here I mentioned what is my success rate, what is my efficiency rate, what is my metric? 60. Yes, 60. So what is meant by metric? It is a gauge, it is like a performance, what you are going to, how your business is evolving. Okay, so metric is nothing but it is a gauging tool of your business performance or your progress, whether your business is getting high relative to that or getting low. Okay, so metric is nothing but a measure plus business meaning. As of now, you just clear off with this. Metric is like a measuring tool. If you draw a line, you will just want to measure, you will use a scale to measure that. The same time, if you want to measure your business performance, you'll be using a metric scale. Is that fine? Is that fine? Yes. Great. So see here, I just had observation. I just quantified it, I measure it. Now I'm saying, I just say in this first quarter, my metric was, I just got 350 revenue plus 50 new customer. So my metric was my total revenue by total customer, which is $7. So I can refer next to the quarters metric. If it is 8, my business is going up. If it is something below 7, then I should be even more careful with my proceeding. Okay, so here I have before, if I consider you don't have this metric, suppose you have quantified or you have measured up to here, next term if you want to compare, means you want to compare these two with the revenue of first quarter with revenue of second quarter, revenue of customer to revenue of sorry, the new customer to the next quarter's new customer, right? So here I bring a new term called metric, which is a measuring tool of my business performance. So I have 7. Next term also I'll just next quarter also I'll be having a metric value, right? So I'll be easily comparing a single term, a single number for a computer to calculate, which is here what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 7, and next, if it is my next quarters is something around 10, I'm just going to compare. If 7 is, if the value which I get from next is greater than this, then my proceeding is correct. So I just gave the thing here. Okay, so what we are going to do, the maths or the Python or the statistics or the machine learning, the same thing I can describe you in a one word. Okay, what max we are going to do here, the next month what measure we are going to get, suppose considered to be B, the value of next metric is B. Max what we are going to do, we are going to compare is 7 is less than B. Okay, so that comes the max plot. Okay, so the value of comparing, it's going to take, no, first metric is 7, second metric is 10, third metric is 11. The value it's going to get from the data is, right, that value that is done by Python. So every time you don't want to repeat that, so you are going to allow your machine to do that. That is machine learning. So how it is per profit? So 7 to 10, it is bigger. So you draw a line, you have a stat, that is the statistic part. So this is all about data science. So now you can just say which is tough part in this. You will find any difficulties comparing two numbers, or drawing a graph out of it, or which one is difficult for you? Okay, so I'll just cover off the last topic of the day, so which is a key performance indicator, KPI. So the question arises now, sir, we want to take, you'll just having a metric here. So every month, so consider every month you'll be having a metric. You're calculating a metric for every month, whatever revenue you got for the month, and for the new customer you avail, you are getting a metric. The thing is, like, you want to save all the metric value. Do you want to save? Yes, you, if you want, you can save. It is no wrong to say like you don't want to save all metrics. But does it makes it any sense? No. Why to do that? Consider my performance is January is $10. Okay, my performance in February is $12. My performance in March is $15. So anyway, I have steep incline. So in March, after March, in April, I have again back to $10. So what I can do, I can say in January to February, in January to March, I have a steep and then I have a low. I don't want to store the February here. If I store also, it will be showing the same. I have increase only. In March also, if I didn't store also, it doesn't cause any wrong things for me, right? So we don't want to. The thing is, like, if you want to store, it is up to you. It creates volume. It creates, then it affects that V's volume, then velocity, everything. But it's not wrong to store. If you want to keep record of everything, you can. But the thing is, like, if I want to say is, we don't want to keep track of all possible metrics which we extract from the data set. We want only useful things. Okay, before coming on to this point and just going to the next slide, what is meant by key performance indicator? So what is meant by the word key? So if you have a key idea, you want to see, right? If you are doing something like hotel business, you should see the thing what people really need. You should not see about seasonal business, right? A food business or a hotel business is it will be running for every day in a year, right? So if you consider like a sweater business or an umbrella business, it is a seasonal. In this season only you want to manufacture. The key terms you have, right? So if you are working in an hotel business, your key thing is like you want to produce the same quantity every day. The performance. Okay, within the time framework. Suppose morning 8 o'clock my food should be ready. So I have 10 people for my cooking. They need 3 hours of cooking to prepare the certain food, means I should not start from 5 o'clock and I should not end at exactly 8. I should be starting something 1 hour before to that. I should have some gap. So I have some key factors based on performance and the indicators. Okay, so coming back to here, so KPIs are nothing but the metric values and your business objectives. The simple terms, even more, I'm just coming down, I'm just saying, I'll just give you an example. Okay, so the same way, I'm just doing a car business. So what I'm doing is I have a showroom having 10 cars. Okay, so I am hiring 3 marketing people. So one fellow is he's selling 3 cars. Second fellow is selling 2 cars. Third fellow is selling no car. Doesn't sell any car in a month. So do I want to have to treat all 3 the same? Do I want to treat all 3 the same? No, yes. So we don't want to see, because what is the key factor there? The key factor is they want to sell, whether they sell the car or not. What is the performance? They sold this much cars, right? Indicators, who sold? The first fellow sold, so I should be confident enough. I should be hiring. I should be retaining him. Rather than this third fellow, I can just leave him instead of paying. Simply, I can just leave him. Okay, so this is the thing, you should be aware by which thing you are getting. You should be aware, doing a email marketing gives me this much performance, this much increase, so I should be doing that. Okay, here the key thing is I want to sell my product using a email marketing. My performance is good. What performance? Selling my product is good means I can do that. You should be knowing key performance indicators. So the indicator should be there. So if I do email marketing, Facebook marketing, and then Instagram marketing, if I get more in email marketing, I can invest more in that. Simply I'm just blindly I'm just doing these 3. Suppose consider like through email marketing I'm getting 100 people. Facebook marketing I'm getting only 10 people. Instagram marketing I'm not even getting people. Instead of I'm not getting this KPI, I'm just simply saying I did all 3 sets, so I got something around 110 people, so we can invest again in this. It is lost only, right? So instead of that I can neglect that Instagram and Facebook, and I can just invest more on email marketing so that I get a better result. So I should be aware which thing, which performance, which candidate or which work gets me more results. Okay, moving on to this, this is something like metrics are nothing like, it's just showcasing you the things. KPIs are like which elements brings you the most profitable way out of things. Okay, so these are not reports or dashboards are nothing but graphs, something like a pie chart or a line diagram, speedometers or strength meters, something like that, to represent reports, dashboards and all, right? It's just a form of representation what you are going to get. That's it. Okay, so what we are doing, we are doing we are getting observation, we are quantifying it, that we are going to measure that, we are going to use metrics, and metrics from which things I'm going to find. Okay, so dashboards, that BI dashboards, business intelligence dashboards will have, okay, will have the KPIs only, which is the key factor to improve my performance. Normally my goods, if I produce 100 products, 50 products, or normally it will sell. What about doing the rest 50 products is my deal, right? So the KPIs plays an important role in business intelligence dashboards. Okay, so we'll wind off with some business intelligence real world examples. Okay, so price optimization. I'll give you a great example here. Okay, so if you are in a month of June or July, okay, so if you are visiting some tourist place, that time the hotel price will be much higher. Why? Because that guy, the hotel owner, knows many people will be coming. So if we say more price also, what they will do, they should get accommodation, so they should pay. So they will be having, in spite of high price also, they will afford for that. The same thing, if he has only limited people, what he will do, he will raise the price, or he will say at least we'll get a minimum profit. So he will just, what he will do, he will get a less price than usual, and if he is profitable in that, he will give that. So here we can use the strategy. Okay, in this month we are saying no, in this June and July we can keep the price higher, and in the month of April or something like in the month of August or September we should maintain this price optimization. Okay, the same thing, inventory management. Suppose like I just gave you an example, right? If you are a owner of a sweater company, you should be doing your sweater in large amount in the later month of September, October, and the December, January part. But if you are not aware, and you are just you are producing large amount in the month of April, May, something like that, no people will buy, your stock will get stagnant, and will be in a loss. Getting that? So what we'll be doing, that we'll be checking. So this time people are coming here. The same thing here, stock this coming. So this period we can rise, this period we can rise, this period we can rise, this period we should be less. The same time January people comes less, little less, little high. This time I can make it high. So this time my sale is high, there my production should be there. Here a little high, so my production will be according to that. Here very less, maybe I can just manage with half of my production. Okay, these are the basic example of this business intelligence, price optimization and inventory management. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be having a class. Okay, tomorrow we'll be having a class. And thank you for the day. And if